Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to be a controversial one, and not because I want it to be controversial, but it's because it's a society that we live in 2026, and woke culture defines what is controversial and what is not. So before we get into this, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free, and the overwhelming majority of you that regularly watch my content aren't subscribed, but you can fix that by just clicking the subscribe button below. Alright, so context. About 10 days ago, I saw this individual appear on the SABC news channel talking about alcohol-related accidents and alcohol-related deaths over the festive season, and how that needs to be tackled and how you need to do everything in your ability to curb that. But the person that was speaking was drawing a lot of attention for a different reason. Now, why this is important is because this person is the vice chairperson of the South African Medical Association. The individual is called Dr. Zanele Bikitsha, and you'll see what I'm talking about once I show you. Now, before I show you this interview, I just want to set the scene here. If you had the vice chairperson of the South African Medical Association appear on television with a cigarette in her hand, you would be critical of their assessment. If they were doing an interview with a drink in their hand, you would be critical of their assessment. Now, what you're about to see will probably make you critical of their assessment as well. And it's important to acknowledge that that feeling isn't wrong. That feeling is 100% correct. Now, what am I talking about? Well, let me show you. That's right. So this is Dr. Zanele Bikitsha. She is the deputy chairperson for the South African Medical Association in South Africa. And as you can see, she suffers from obesity. I will just come out and say it because it's factually true. And let's listen to what she has to say here.
We must say that it's always a joke about the festive seasons that we do tend to get, a spike when it comes to alcohol-related trauma in our casualties. In terms of stats, I won't lie,
Can I just also say, can you clearly hear her struggling for breath while she's sitting at home comfortably doing an interview on TV? So it's not a lot of strain on her, but can you hear how she's struggling to breathe while she's comfortably sitting down? I'm just asking that.
We actually happened to see quite a lot during the COVID, and I think that was because of the banning, so it kind of made it illicit substance, but it still puts our trauma numbers at the highest that they are the whole year through. So your December would be second only to your Easter holidays and things like that. So December always happens to be one of our highest when it comes to trauma and alcohol related. So you must remember that include, actual physical assaults where people are stabbing each other, hitting each other with bottles. It involves drunken driving charges. It involves domestic violence that is induced by alcohol. So this is definitely our peak season.
All right, so let me just set the record straight from the very beginning before people might take this out of context. I am not criticizing her weight, although I think it's very unhealthy, and she will definitely die a lot sooner than what she would have if she wasn't so obese. It's not me mocking her, bullying her. Obesity-related deaths in this country is the #1 cause of deaths in South Africa. Go and check. If you don't believe me, go and Google it. Ask your favorite AI. Obesity-related deaths is the #1 cause of deaths in South Africa. Obesity-related deaths around the world is the 4th biggest killer around the world. 5 million people die every single year because of obesity-related deaths. So when I am talking about this specific individual and the concern that I have with her being the vice chairperson of the South African Medical Association, you need to see that in context. Would you trust a lawyer that has got a criminal record this long? I doubt it. Would you trust an accountant that has been blacklisted many, many times before? I doubt it. Would you trust a medical professional to tell you what is good for you when they look like this doctor, with all due respect. No, you would not. So the question that I have then is, why does the South African Medical Association think that it is suitable to make this individual their vice chairperson? And it's not because she's fat, it's not because of her weight, it's because obesity is one of the biggest killers around the world. So why would you want to associate a person that is suffering from that with that position? Because ultimately it takes away from your organization. Now, before you tell me, Renaldo, you are nitpicking, how can you say something like this? Well, I just take what Sama tells me. In their latest magazine, they have listed it quite a number of times. Let me show you. So here is Sama Insider. It's a magazine that they release every 2 months. You can see over here that it is the December 2025, January 2026 edition. So it's the latest one. And in this edition, obesity is mentioned 32 times. So much so that the editor actually thinks it's important to speak of it. There it is. And this is the Ed's note. And then further to that, there's an actual study that has also been posted here, Obesity Care in South Africa, a new era. And then when you go to the South Africa Medical Journal, which is closely linked to SAMA, you will also find the following. I mean, here they talk about obesity guidelines, South African Medical Journal, and Rethink Obesity. Now, if you click on that link over there, it takes you to all of the studies that has come to South Africa, or that they've made available to South Africa, or looked at how they can implement this in South Africa. And you can find quite a lot of studies over here with regards to obesity. So the point that I'm making is, why is it that in South Africa nobody respects the chair? And what I mean by that is, for way too long you have seen people, both in the political space and non-political space, occupying a position of power, whether it is the chairperson, the vice chairperson, a minister, a member of parliament, a member of the provincial executive, whatever, that will get that position, but they're not qualified to hold that position. An example of this would be any minister that currently don't hold a degree or experience in the field or in the ministry that they are a part of. The Minister of Police, how long has that individual been in the police service, etc., etc. And the answer most of the time is never. So we are putting people in positions that shouldn't be there because they don't represent the best of what that position should be. And to bring this back home to the vice chairperson of the South African Medical Association, in my head, I would think that they wouldn't necessarily choose a healthy, fit individual, but just somebody that you can look at and go, okay, well, this person can clearly know what they are talking about, and we should listen to them. Now, with all due respect, I am not criticizing Zanele Bikicha's knowledge, because she is a doctor, but you have to ask yourself, at what point do you not listen to this individual because they don't take their own health seriously, considering that obesity-related deaths is the #1 cause of death in South Africa and 4th around the world, with 5 million people dying annually. At what point do you take the people that you are speaking to seriously and not providing an individual like this to be the spokesperson or the vice chairperson of the entire medical association? Now, you can say that I'm fat shaming. That's fine. I've been labeled so many things: racist, homophobe, transphobe. I've run out of all the things that I've been accused of. But it's just me asking the honest questions. Would you want somebody like this to represent you and your business when they are clearly being contradictory towards what the goal of that profession is? And the answer is no. Like I stated earlier, would you want a lawyer that has a rap sheet this long to be a representative of, the law society in this country? Would you want an accountant that has been blacklisted many times? Do you want them to be a representative of the accountants, representative council? I highly doubt it. So then it would logically make sense that in the medical profession, you wouldn't want somebody that is obese to be the face of your organization. I think that's common sense. And that is why I said we don't respect the chair. We don't respect the position in this country, because people that clearly are contradictory to the positions that they hold are allowed to be in those positions. And the question is, at what point are we going to say, no, enough is enough? If you are a minister of police, you need to have experience in the police force. If you are the minister of military services, etc., then you have to have experience in the military. The same with the minister of health. Surely you would expect that that person has a medical degree. And when it comes to this individual that represents the South African Medical Association, you would think that maybe they would be not fit, but presentable, and not show an illness that has killed more than 5 million people in the last year. I just wanted to get that off my chest, because it's something that South Africa is terrible in not respecting the chair, not respecting the position, and this thing of not speaking about something that should be spoken about when it's quite obvious that it's contradictory. And her weight in this instance, connected with her position, is problematic. I mean, alone, if she wasn't the vice chairperson, then I wouldn't have as much of an issue, but I would still be concerned for her health because she is severely obese. But the fact that she is in that position and that she is also obese, that is a problem for me. And I would like to get your input. What do you think? Am I losing my mind? Am I going crazy? Or is society going crazy for not addressing the obvious? And listen, with all due respect to this doctor, which I'm sure is probably very, very efficient at what she does, and she is a good doctor, it doesn't take away from the fact that we have to be realistic, that if we're going to talk about the medical profession in South Africa, then using a person that represents the number one cause of death in this country, that is not a good idea. And in actual fact, we as a society should stand up and say that this is not a good idea, instead of just keeping quiet or leaving it for the comments on social media to criticize this person. It's time that we as society hold people accountable for whether it is their criminal record, whether it is things that they've done in the past, whether it is their health, specifically if they are in that field and they are a representative of tens of thousands of people in that profession, and then they give those individuals a bad reputation, then we need to point that out. And that is the point of this video, that we as society need to start speaking out against things that under woke culture might be considered non-negotiable to speak about, and that they don't want you to speak about that. I believe that we should reach that point where we have those conversations. Ultimately, it boils down to woke culture dictating to us what we can and cannot speak about. And if you want to bring up somebody's weight, or if you want to bring up something related to how they look, then that is completely unacceptable. The question I have is, would you allow a deaf person to be the spokesperson on music in South Africa? Would you allow a blind person to be the spokesperson of arts in this country? So then why would you allow an obese person that can control their weight to be a chairperson of an entire medical profession in South Africa? That is not on, and it's time that we as a society deal with this notion of what is acceptable and not to speak of in public. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share this video far and wide. And if you enjoy my content and if you enjoy this channel, please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below, and it'll cost you R39.99 a month, and it's in support of me and this channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, "Oh, my massacre."